I'm John's younger brother and friend, and have known him my whole life. And as much of an outstanding brother and friend of mine he is today, things weren't always easy for me or for our youngest brother Blake, especially when Mum and Dad were out from the shops. One time in particular was one early winter morning. Blake and I were sleeping upstairs in bed.
Together.
John came in and grabbed us out of our bunks and took us up to the back fence in our Batman undies and hosed us down for about 20 minutes. Maybe even more questionable was when he used to push our faces together and make us kiss. On reflection though, I do think these kinds of events were the fire that forged our friendship. Once I grew a bit more and was no longer half John's size, I'm proud to say I became his very first crony. I partnered with John to continue his work on character building Blake. We employed such methods as locking the blanket box with pieces of dog shit and forcing manure down his throat from Dad's veggie garden. So we became close over the years, started playing football together and started going out together a bit more. In fact, an employee at the gym, C2K, thought we were a couple because they'd see us at the gym together, they saw us living in the apartment we were living in together, and they saw us grocery shopping together. After a while, our two friendship groups eventually moulded, and we became one group for a grand total of 7 males. I'm not quite sure why I didn't have many friends, but after spending a bit more time with John, it was very easy to see. To the uninitiated, John was arrogant and aggressive. However, he acts the same with his friends, with brutal honesty. In fact, John, on a regular occasion, points out that my nipples look like someone's pulling them down with a string. He does it all the time. He also doesn't mind speaking his mind to the odd fellow patron at a venue. On one occasion, left me with a broken nose and Mitch Power with some stitches under the eye, and for some reason John got away unscathed. So a lot of you may have had these negative preconceptions of John, but have now come to the realisation that the silver lining of such a character of confidence and honesty is that you definitely know when you're a friend. John's generous and loyal to his friends, and he'd do anything for anyone he cared about. However, I can't help mention one of John's more selfish acts. Robbing the womb of good-looking genes. Our firstborn sibling and gorgeous sister Jackie, she took her fair share. When it was John's turn to collect, he well and truly scraped the walls. He left me looking like my 55-year-old father. And Blake looking like a tall, skinny Ivan Malay. I think it's only fair that I mention John is a very clever and smart person. His achievements so far are impressive and we're all very proud of him. But he's also a bit of an idiot. I could count at least 5 times I've grabbed him before he stepped out onto a busy road to be hit by a car. Or the fact he boasts an impressive car accident count of 7, two of which have ended in write-offs. Or perhaps his finest moment was when he was living in Neutral Bay and he forgot his keys. It was a stormy night and The best option that came to mind was to climb to the 9th-story balcony up the pipes and balconies. So it may have been that overindulgence of the womb that, and subsequent good looks that initially caught the eye of his tremendous bride, Alexa. So, this is, I didn't really know when they met, and there's been some conflicting stories. This is my understanding, okay, so I don't know what happened. The first time I was aware of where they met, which I vividly remember, was at none other than the hillside. It was another Friday night, and after a while, John and I had separated from each other within the venue, as is our way when we enjoyed a few too many Contro shots. We later reconvened to head down to Showground Macca's for a late night feed. This time, however, was a little bit different. I noticed a small group of 3 girls who were walking oddly close to us. Knowing this had nothing to do with John's dance moves, I asked John what they wanted. His response was to look at me, giggling, and saying, "Not bad, eh?" At which point I saw one of the best looking women this side of the equator turn around and give him a big smile. We enjoyed our Maccas with Alexa and Co, and off we went. John smiling all the way home in the back of Mum's Drago. The weeks following saw him in a strict routine, such as getting up at 4 AM for 100 grams of fat-free oats and hill sprints. Transformed to a man of frequently disappearing for a few hours in the night. It was not long after this period we were all introduced to little Alexa, who you could always tell was over because it looked like a child left their shoes at the door. Time goes by and they move in together into John's unit, and then at a later point they move into the family home. It was during this time that Alexa's and my friendship flourished. I think so, yeah. I realised we had much in common. We both hated watching cricket, we both enjoyed a few bevs, and we both had a deep hatred for Arnold. That's the joke. We'd routinely meet on a Friday afternoon in the upstairs bathroom. Alexa would be getting ready while I would just be about 1.5 meters away in the adjoining toilet having a good sit down. We'd discuss how our day was and what we're up to that night like we were sitting at a table. We'd then help ourselves to a few drinks while we waited for John to get home. On several occasions, we decided to just meet him out, and sometimes it would just be Alexa, myself, and Parent Audi. Times like these that made me really appreciate Alexa, and I knew we were going to get along just fine. John's admiration for Alexa was always obvious. After John saw his ligaments in his knee and he was dosed up on painkillers, all he could say over and over while I was carrying him up the stairs was, "Fat, isn't Alexa a gorgeous little thing?" Fast forward a few more years and John starts to think about popping the question. I had already long accepted Alexa as a sister, and even if I hadn't known her that well by this point, I would always trust in John's judgment. Then came the proposal by way of helicopter arrival to a ring of rose petals by a clifftop venue no less. John may not admit this, but I could tell he was super nervous. He didn't know what to do with his hands, and when he came up to greet everyone, his lips were quivering. Pussy. I was genuinely so happy that this marriage was to take place. The simple fact is that these two should never be apart for as long as they live. I see a yin and yang of sorts, perfectly completing each other and each holding such admiration and love for one another. I again want to thank you for allowing me the honour of partaking in this event as the best man. I love you both very much, and I'm looking forward to seeing you both live a tremendous life and pop out the best looking kids going around. I can't wait to experience this beautiful relationship with you both in the coming years. And on that note, again, I'd like to invite everyone to stand up and raise a glass to John and Alexa and their happiness and family. Thank you.
Another round of applause for the best man, everybody. Well done, Matt. Okay, so food's going to be served now, and we'll touch base again to hear from John and Alexa later.